and I'd love to hear you guys discuss, what do you do with someone, not just Steph Curry, but as we go through the centers and as we go through, the shooting guards, and as we go through the forwards or any other sport, what do you do with the Todd Gurleys? What do you do with the potentials?
I got you on this one.
And love to hear that. So I'll hang up and listen to that. But keep going. Good luck, guys.
Hey, thank you, man. We appreciate the call.
Appreciate the call. Appreciate the love, Richard. So I guess I can answer this one for you. You make a good point on guys with potential because you mentioned different guys, different sports. Todd Gurley, Mark Fidrich, is the golfers that you have right now. I mean, the NBA, of course, Stephen Curry is the guy right now. Anthony Davis is another one. That has that high potential. And you don't know what you're getting. So, yeah, I understand where, I see what they're saying with the Steph Curry thing is you're looking at the things are right now. But where you rate guys all time, I don't think you put potential as high as what the physical numbers look like. Body of work.
Yeah.
Because if you're going by potential, like you said, Doc Gooden back in the 80s in baseball, I mean, the first couple of years as a Met, I mean, you would probably thought he was one of the top 5 pitchers of all time.
Right.
There are guys who come in the league and just completely, start on fire. And then they completely burn out within a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
We thought about Michael Vick, and for example, in football, Robert Griffin III when he first came in the first year or two in Washington. You had these guys who were super. Michael Vick just pretty much transitioned the game, and then next thing you know, everything happened, and Vick is not a top 5 quarterback of all time like people thought he was going to be. So for me, in my opinion, when you rate prospects or guys who are going to be potentially on the list, I leave those guys off the list because if we're going all time, we're talking at this point in time. So I think that Curry should not have been on the list. But if they did an honorable mention and say guys that potentially can crack this list in the future, then you have your Russell Westbrooks, your Stephen Currys. Then you mention Anthony Davis's. That's my opinion about that. Guys, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree, man. Too bad we don't really have a lot of time to debate it. But I tend to agree with what Danny's saying. I think that body of work needs to be ahead of potential when you're making a list like this.
Because you never know. A guy Stephen Curry can blow out the head ankle problems. He could have more ankle problems, and then this list becomes invalidated right then and there because the guy lost it because of ankle injuries. So,
yeah,
exactly.
All right, well, look, we're going to go ahead and hit up Marc Johnson's college basketball segment. If you guys have never heard this, you're in for a treat. This guy knows his stuff. Now, Mark, we usually have more time, so we're going to run through this pretty quick, my man. All right, So we got Oregon State and Colorado. That's on ESPNU. Wednesday. So let's talk about Oregon State prospects Gary Payton, the second, and Colorado prospect Josh Scott.
Well, if you haven't seen Gary Payton the second, that's GP2. You're going to love what you see. He's going to be one of these guys that's going to end up near the end of the first round, maybe in the teens, but I'm telling you, man, this guy really could play, man. He plays a lot like his dad defensively, kind of quiet. Even his dad, said he wasn't even much of a prospect, until midway last year. So you're going to love him. He's great.
And what about Josh Scott?
Josh Scott, big center, has some good offensive skills. Guy is probably going to bring off your bench. Probably a guy who's going to be like another end of the first round guy, but has some good offensive games. So you're going to like him too.
All right, Thursday we got BYU and Gonzaga. All right, so for BYU we got Kyle Collinsworth. What you got on him?
Collinsworth is solid, kind of a do-everything player. Definitely a guy that, is kind of like a coach's player. Okay. So he does a little bit of everything. Point guard, from point guard to forward, does a little bit of everything. I like him.
All right, and Gonzaga, we got a guy named Kyle. Oh wow, Wiltshire. I don't even know much about this guy. What you got on him?
Yeah, Wiltshire, transfer from Kentucky, now at Gonzaga. A guy could hit at a high clip from 3, 6'10". Solid rebounder, can run the floor. He's pretty good.
All right, and then you got a familiar name, Domantas Sabonis, and yes, that is Arvydas' son.
Yeah, he's really, really good. I mean, this guy, has all kind of moves around the basket, excellent rebounder. This guy's a top 10 player. To be honest, I'm surprised he's actually near the bottom 10. He should be further ahead. I think some people are going to get in trouble by, drafting against this guy for drafting other guys. So it's going to be a really good one.
All right, we got Washington at Arizona, and let's talk about Arizona's prospect, Alonzo Trier.
Yeah, Trier is a guy who's really coming on strong. He's been at maybe 20 points a game for the last month. He's really an offensive dynamo, really can get it going, shake and bake in his game. The other parts of his game need to pick up, but the scoring is just excellent.
All right. And we're going to skip down to Oklahoma and Iowa State, and that's going to be next Monday. We got Buddy Hield, man. This guy's been playing out of his mind. Talk about him a little bit.
Buddy Hield is on fire. I mean, that guy, he's really like probably my favorite prospect, as of right now. The guy can shoot. He can get to the basket. He shoots at a very, very high clip. If you leave him open, it's going in. I mean, that's how good he is. He can take it off the dribble. He's also an excellent rebounder. I like him. He's going to be another top 10 player. You have to keep your eyes on him.
All right. Now choose one of these guys from Iowa State. You got George Niang and Jameel McKay.
You got to go with Niang. He's a guy, maybe kind of a do-everything type of player, a guy who will definitely get in the league. He'll be able to stick in the league, very versatile, can kind of play, all three perimeter positions. He's a guy who's definitely going to make it. He's going to be a guy who, when you draft him, you're going to be like, man, we actually got ourselves a player.
Man, ladies and gentlemen, that's Marc Johnson. I mean, anytime you need to know something about college basketball, he's your man. And
basically, if you followed the show for the last few weeks, Marc can go on a rant, but this time he did it like the 2-minute offense in the NFL.
Yep.
I mean, he pretty much did what Damian Lillard did to Russell Westbrook and the Oklahoma City Thunder, where he knocked down 17 points in 3 minutes the other night. That's what Marc Johnson did in this last segment. So
2-minute drill. I called the plays and he executed.
Exactly. Pick and roll. Pick and roll perfectly. So, guys, we're getting close to the end of the show. Let's tell everybody pretty much how to get in contact with you guys on social media. So, Marc, since you pretty much killed it, go ahead and go.
Oh, you know what I mean? For get in touch with me on social media, just hit me at Breakdown Sport on Twitter. And if you want to have some fun, hit me at Breakdown Sport on Instagram. I'll have you laughing.
Exactly. Paul, what you got?
Man, you already know I'm not a social media guy at all. If you want to find me on Twitter, you can go for it. Don't expect a response right away, though. I don't spend a lot of time on there, but I do have a Twitter handle. It's P. Myers, NBA FCP. You can find me on Facebook. If you want to reach me, you can always find us at NBA FCP Radio on Facebook, and I'll be glad to answer you there.
Basically, we're going to try to get Paul voted to the All-Star game. So for those, we're going to start a Twitter hashtag NBA vote and then put Paul Myers' Twitter handle on there.
They're killing me with this.
I mean, if Jeremy Lin can get a bunch of votes for the All-Star game, how come we couldn't get Paul Myers on there as well, too? Be a nice little backcourt addition, especially better than Dwayne Wade and Kyrie Irving. But for ourselves on the show this week, like I said, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at NBADT29 on both social media sites. Also, we have a whole bunch of articles from the rest of the team coming out as well, too. So we want to give a thanks to everybody on NBA SCP Radio, Full Court Press Radio, sponsored by SOFOELLC, myself, Marc Johnson, Paul Myers, and our main man, super producer Chris in the background, who always takes care of us. Also, Zach Oliver and Greg Small for checking in with us tonight. So we'll be right back with you guys next Tuesday night here on NBA FCP Full Court Press Radio, sponsored by SOFOELLC.
Man, get it together.
On the new 96.9 The Game, Orlando Sports Leader. We're going to get it back. Like I said, it's my first week back in the studio in over a month, guys.
Jeez.
So, like I said, follow us throughout the entire week. And also, check us out on Spreaker if you missed the show tonight. So, we'll be right back. We'll see you guys next Tuesday night on the show.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for listening.
Peace.
Later.